Welcome to the Lads Sports Echo video. We have chosen a topic which is an ongoing issue around the world, but we have focused it on two of Australia's major leagues, the AFL and the A-League. The issue at hand is crowd attendance, and we will talk about three of the major factors that influence it. Although we do concede there are other factors, such as the weather and the performance of the home and away team, as well as the state of the economy. The reason it's such a big issue, and whilst it does vary from league to league, is that a healthy support base leads to a successful sporting franchise.
One of the major factors we identified as affecting crowd attendances was ticket prices. People have to decide whether the economic benefits they're going to give up from going to the game are going to be matched by the benefit they get from watching the sport, which is their consumer surplus. Generally, as ticket prices increase, these crowds drop off, but they don't necessarily vary in proportion to price changes all the time. At times, price increases can be the difference between people going and not going. For example, certain classes of people with lower incomes might stop going for each dollar increases in price, because watching sport is a discretionary expenditure and might make way for more essential spending. Also, there's a risk for substitution, where fans might start going to different sports events as prices go up, which can be harmful to that sports league in the long run. Both of these situations would see attendances decrease, so leagues need to consider carefully what types of people typically go to their games when thinking about setting prices. Leagues should also think about different demand curves for different games when ticket pricing. For example, for both the AFL and A-League, attendances in finals games were higher, even though ticket prices were greater than those for home and away games, which means that the price elasticity of attendances might be very different for games even within leagues. Leagues should look to increase price to match increased demand in these situations, which would maximise their gate revenue. However, when looking at revenue, leagues look to get as much total revenue as they can from the sport, which doesn't just come from gate revenue, but also from complement products sold on game day like food and drink. So at times, in the inelastic part of the demand curve, leagues might set prices at a point a little below the equilibrium for gate revenue to maximise attendances and this complement revenue, which might maximise total revenue overall. Generally, we found as prices go up, attendances will drop off unless demand is strong enough to match it, like for finals games. Either way, it's hard to tell exactly how much attendance will drop off for each dollar change in prices because there's many other factors affecting attendances as well.
Broadcasting deals within the A-League and AFL proved pivotal in their exposure to Australians. Originally, the newly established A-League was televised exclusively on Fox Sports, which was criticised for limiting the exposure of the world game. The newly announced deal by SBS will allow coverage of the Hyundai A-League from the 2013-14 season and will be the first time the A-League is broadcasted on free-to-air TV since the competition's inception. The decision by SBS could be crucial in the growth of Australian soccer, both on and off the pitch. SBS's return to the domestic soccer scene should expose an extra 200,000 viewers a week to the A-League, showing the baby steps the FFA are taking to expose A-League to all Australians. In the AFL, Friday night live games didn't substantially affect attendances. Being a well-established league within Australia could explain the insignificance of the increase. However, similar to the A-League, the increased free-to-air presence in New South Wales and Queensland will be key to continuing the growth of the game in rugby union and league's heartlands. Looking at the table given, you can see that the largest change over recent years was experienced last year by a 10.1 decrease in attendance, which coincided with Fox Footy covering all games live. Although the extent of the decline was largely as a result of the introduction of the new franchises, 2012 still saw lowest aggregate attendances in recent times. It is apparent that a portion of fans opted to support their team play live from the comfort of their armchairs rather than at the games. It is important to note that not all leagues have the same motives when negotiating broadcasting deals. Whilst the A-League longs for greater exposure, the AFL believes a larger focus on generating revenue deals is more beneficial.
Expansion. Why expand? Money is not always the reason. Leagues can choose to expand to fend off advances from rival leagues by consolidating their sport in that town or city. Secondly, they may choose to expand to areas where they are not the dominant league in an attempt to weaken their rival sport. It can add value to existing owners through general promotion of the league, creating new rivalries, and also an increase in broadcasting deals. Now, looking at the tables, AFL first, it is clear that Port Adelaide and Fremantle are the two success stories here, and they all have a few things in common. First of all, they are both true AFL heartlands. Secondly, they were both established teams and came in with an already established supporter base, and this enabled them to be competitive from day one. Thirdly, they are in the exact same town as Adelaide and West Coast, essentially splitting the town in two and creating a true rivalry geographically. As opposed to Gold Coast and GWS, who have not been competitive, but at the same time are not true AFL heartlands at all. In the A-League, similar story with the Gold Coast, who are now defunct. An hour's drive apart from Gold Coast to Brisbane is a bit of a fake rivalry, and whilst they were competitive, this was also just not a football heartland, and obviously, now that they are not in the competition, was a failure. In Western Sydney, however, the FFA definitely got this one right. It is a true heartland of Australian football. They won the Premiers Play in their first season, which shows that they were competitive, and also the rivalry is one which any league in Australia would love to have. In summary, the success of expansion boils down to three major factors: geographic location, the area's history of the sport, and the team's competitiveness in its early years. Now, whilst leagues all have different factors into account when deciding where they should expand to and different motives, these three factors must be considered.
Overall, we found there are many factors that have the potential to affect crowd attendances. In order to address these crucial factors, we believe there are clear indicators of what level to set ticket prices, where leagues should expand to, and the effect that broadcasting deals can have on different types of leagues. No leagues are identical, no teams are fully comparative, but all should identify a clear strategy to enable them the best opportunity to grow attendances and to get supporters off the couch.